Why was Moses' body never found? This question has intrigued scholars, theologians, and believers for centuries. Join us as we uncover the true story of Moses in the Bible and delve into the secrets and mysteries surrounding his final resting place. Moses stands as one of the most notable figures not only in the Bible but in human history. Chosen by God to liberate the Hebrew people from the bondage of slavery in Egypt, Moses' life is a testament to faith, perseverance, and divine intervention. The life and miracles of Moses are detailed primarily in the first 5 books of the Bible, known as the Torah, with a particular focus on the book of Exodus. From his dramatic birth to his final moments on Mount Nebo, Moses' journey is a narrative brimming with divine intervention, leadership, and unwavering faith. Moses was born during a dark time for the Israelites, who were enslaved in Egypt. Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew male infants to be killed to curb their population in a desperate attempt to save him. Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set it adrift on the Nile River. This seemingly perilous act of faith led to one of the most extraordinary twists of fate. Pharaoh's daughter discovered the basket and adopted Moses, raising him as an Egyptian prince. This early life in the royal palace gave Moses a unique perspective and set the stage for his future mission. The turning point in Moses' life came when he fled Egypt after killing an Egyptian overseer who was beating a Hebrew slave. He settled in Midian, where he encountered God in the form of a burning bush on Mount Horeb. This iconic event marked the beginning of Moses' prophetic calling. God commanded him to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of bondage. Despite his initial reluctance and self-doubt, Moses accepted his mission. Moses' confrontation with Pharaoh is a testament to God's power and Moses' unwavering faith. The 10 plagues that struck Egypt, from the waters turning to blood to the death of the firstborns, were not just acts of divine retribution, but also symbolic demonstrations of God's supremacy over the Egyptian gods. Each plague was a step towards the eventual liberation of the Israelites. The parting of the Red Sea is perhaps the most famous miracle associated with Moses. As the Israelites found themselves trapped between Pharaoh's pursuing army and the sea, Moses stretched out his hand, and the waters miraculously parted, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry ground. When the Egyptians followed, the waters returned, drowning the entire army. This event solidified Moses' status as a divinely chosen leader and the Israelites' faith in God's protection. In the wilderness, Moses continued to guide the Israelites, performing miracles that underscored God's provision. He brought forth water from a rock at Horeb, provided manna from heaven, and received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai. These commandments formed the foundation of Israelite law and religious practice. Moses' life was a testament to the profound relationship between God and his chosen people. His final moments on Mount Nebo, where he was granted a view of the promised land that he would never enter, underscore the themes of faith, leadership, and divine promise that permeate his story. Moses' journey, filled with extraordinary events and miracles, remains one of the most captivating and inspiring narratives in biblical history. Moses' birth and early life story is a compelling narrative of survival, destiny, and divine intervention, set against the backdrop of severe oppression. During the time Moses was born, the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt, subjected to brutal labor and harsh treatment under the reign of a pharaoh who feared their growing population. To curb this perceived threat, Pharaoh decreed that all newborn Hebrew boys were to be killed by being thrown into the Nile River. Amidst this grim decree, a Levite woman named Jochebed gave birth to a son. Recognizing something special in her child, she was determined to save him. For 3 months she hid him, defying the king's orders. When she could no longer conceal him, she devised a desperate and ingenious plan. She crafted a small ark of bulrushes, waterproofed it with tar and pitch, and placed her precious son inside. With a prayerful heart, she set the basket adrift among the reeds along the banks of the Nile, entrusting her baby's fate to divine providence. This seemingly perilous decision led to a miraculous turn of events. The baby's sister, Miriam, watched from a distance to see what would happen. As fate would have it, Pharaoh's daughter came to bathe in the river and spotted the basket. Upon opening it, she found the crying baby and immediately felt compassion for him, recognizing him as one of the Hebrew children. In a twist of divine irony, she decided to adopt the child, naming him Moses, which means drawn out of the water. But the story's marvel doesn't end there. Miriam bravely approached Pharaoh's daughter and suggested finding a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and Miriam brought Jochebed, Moses' own mother, who was then paid to nurse and care for her son. This extraordinary circumstance allowed Moses to be nurtured in the faith and traditions of his people while being raised in the opulence of the Egyptian court. Growing up as an Egyptian prince, Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and became a man of power in words and deeds. However, he never forgot his Hebrew heritage, this dual identity. An Israelite by birth and an Egyptian by upbringing shaped his destiny. Moses' unique position and background equipped him for the monumental task that lay ahead, leading his people out of bondage. Moses' early life is a story of remarkable survival against the odds, highlighting themes of faith, courage, and the mysterious workings of destiny. His journey from the banks of the Nile to the courts of Pharaoh set the stage for his future role as the deliverer of the Israelites, a pivotal figure whose life and legacy continue to inspire countless generations. After killing an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave, Moses fled to Midian to escape Pharaoh's wrath. This pivotal moment marked the beginning of Moses' transformation from a prince of Egypt into a shepherd in the wilderness, and eventually the leader of the Israelites. Moses, raised in the opulence of Pharaoh's court, had always known he was different. Though he lived among the Egyptians, his heart ached for his fellow Hebrews who toiled under the harsh yoke of slavery. One fateful day, he witnessed an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating a Hebrew slave. Overcome with righteous anger, Moses struck down the Egyptian, killing him. Realizing the gravity of his actions and fearing retribution, he fled eastward to the land of Midian, leaving behind the only life he had ever known. In Midian, Moses' life took an unexpected turn. He encountered the 7 daughters of Reuel, so known as Jethro, the priest of Midian, at a well. When shepherds tried to drive them away, Moses came to their defense, showcasing his inherent sense of justice. Grateful for his help, Reuel invited Moses to stay with his family. It was here that Moses met and married Zipporah, one of Reuel's daughters. The once prince of Egypt now finds himself living a humble life as a shepherd, tending to his father-in-law's flocks. Years passed and Moses adapted to his new life, but his destiny was far from fulfilled. One day, while leading his flock near Mount Horeb, something extraordinary occurred. Moses noticed a bush that was engulfed in flames yet was not consumed by the fire. Intrigued, he approached, and from the midst of the bush, God called out to him. "Moses, Moses," the voice said. Moses responded, "Here I am." God instructed him to remove his sandals, for he was standing on holy ground. In this divine encounter, God revealed his plan for Moses. He had seen the suffering of the Israelites in Egypt and had chosen Moses to deliver them from bondage. Despite his initial hesitation and feelings of inadequacy, Moses was assured that God would be with him. God provided him with signs and miracles to prove his power, including turning Moses' staff into a serpent and making his hand leprous and then whole again. Moses' encounter with the burning bush was a turning point, transforming him from a fugitive into a prophet with a divine mission. This event marked the beginning of the Exodus, a journey that would lead to the liberation of the Israelites and the fulfillment of God's promises to his people. Moses, armed with faith and courage, returned to Egypt to confront Pharaoh and demand the freedom of the Israelites, setting the stage for one of the most dramatic and inspiring stories in history. Moses' return to Egypt marked the beginning of a dramatic confrontation between divine power and human obstinacy. After encountering God in the burning bush on Mount Sinai, Moses was tasked with a monumental mission: to free the Israelites from centuries of slavery under Egyptian rule. With his brother Aaron as his spokesperson, Moses approached Pharaoh demanding, "Let my people go." Pharaoh's heart was hardened, setting the stage for a series of extraordinary events that would demonstrate God's supreme power and justice. The first plague turned the Nile River, Egypt's lifeblood, into blood. Fish died and the river reeked. But Pharaoh's magicians replicated this sign, and he remained unmoved. Next came a plague of frogs which invaded homes, beds, and kitchens. Though Pharaoh pleaded for relief, promising to free the Israelites, he reneged once the frogs were gone. This pattern of plagues and false promises continued, escalating in severity. The third plague brought gnats, followed by swarms of flies in the fourth. Both disrupted daily life and worship, yet Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. The fifth plague targeted livestock, devastating Egypt's economy, but sparing Israelite animals. The sixth plague inflicted painful boils on humans and animals, causing widespread suffering. Still, Pharaoh resisted. The seventh plague, a ferocious hailstorm, destroyed crops and livestock. Despite the destruction, Pharaoh's repentance was short-lived. The eighth plague unleashed locusts, consuming what the hail had left. Darkness enveloped Egypt in the ninth plague, symbolizing divine judgment. Pharaoh's stubbornness only deepened. The 10th and final plague was the most severe, the death of every Egyptian firstborn. To protect the Israelites, God instructed them to sacrifice a lamb and mark their doorposts with its blood. This act of faith became the first Passover, as the angel of death passed over the marked homes, sparing their firstborns. The wailing in Egypt was unprecedented, and a broken Pharaoh finally relented, urging the Israelites to leave. The exodus commenced with haste, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. Moses led the Israelites towards the Red Sea. Pharaoh, however, soon regretted his decision and pursued them with his army. Trapped between the sea and the approaching Egyptians, the Israelites despaired, but Moses, stretching his staff over the waters, parted the Red Sea. The Israelites crossed on dry ground, while the Egyptians, in hot pursuit, were engulfed as the waters returned, drowning Pharaoh's forces. This miraculous deliverance marked the beginning of Israel's journey to the Promised Land, a journey fraught with trials and triumphs. The Exodus story, rich in drama and divine intervention, stands as a testament to faith, freedom, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Mount Sinai stands as one of the most pivotal locations in biblical history. It was here that Moses, the prophet and leader of the Israelites, received the 10 Commandments from God, an event that not only established a covenant, but also laid the foundation for the moral and legal code of the Israelites. This momentous occasion occurred in the midst of a dramatic and challenging journey through the wilderness, a journey that spanned 40 arduous years. The story of Moses receiving the 10 Commandments is both profound and dramatic. According to the Bible, after the Israelites were freed from slavery in Egypt, they embarked on a trek through the desert toward the Promised Land. 3 months into their journey, they arrived at the foot of Mount Sinai. Here Moses ascended the mountain to commune with God, leaving the Israelites camped below. For 40 days and nights, Moses remained on the mountain, during which he received the 10 Commandments, inscribed on 2 stone tablets by the very finger of God. These commandments were a divine directive, encompassing ethical principles that have resonated through the ages, such as honoring one's parents, refraining from murder, and observing the Sabbath. However, the descent from Mount Sinai brought with it a bitter disappointment. Moses found that in his absence, the Israelites had grown restless and had constructed a golden calf to worship, in direct violation of the very commandments they were about to receive. This act of idolatry provoked Moses' wrath, leading him to shatter the stone tablets in anger. It marks a significant test of leadership and faith for Moses, who later returned to the mountain to receive a new set of tablets. The journey through the wilderness, though guided by divine intervention, was marked by continuous struggle. The Israelites faced numerous challenges, including scarcity of food and water, leading to frequent complaints and rebellions against Moses' leadership. Each trial tested their faith and resilience, and often their unity as a people was on the verge of collapse. God provided manna from heaven and water from a rock to sustain them, yet the grumbling persisted. One of the most profound reasons for their extended wandering was their lack of faith and disobedience. When scouts were sent to survey the promised land, their reports instilled fear rather than faith in the hearts of the Israelites. As a result, God decreed that the current generation, except for Joshua and Caleb, would not enter the promised land. This decree condemned them to wander the desert for 40 years until a new generation, one more faithful and obedient, arose. Moses' journey with the Israelites through the wilderness is a story of leadership under divine mandate, fraught with human frailty and divine patience. It is a testament to the enduring struggle between faith and doubt, obedience and rebellion, and ultimately, the relentless pursuit of a promised future. The saga of Mount Sinai and the 40-year journey is not just a historical account, but a profound narrative that continues to inspire and challenge believers around the world. In a moment that profoundly altered his destiny, Moses faced a severe consequence for a single act of disobedience at the waters of Meribah. Tasked by God to speak to a rock to draw water for the thirsty Israelites, Moses instead struck the rock twice with his staff. This seemingly minor deviation carried significant weight. By striking the rock, Moses demonstrated a lapse in faith, choosing his own method over divine instruction. This incident is recorded in Numbers 27:12, where God's command was explicit: "Take the staff and speak to the rock before their eyes." But Moses, perhaps frustrated by the constant complaints of the Israelites, opted for a more dramatic approach. As water gushed forth, it was clear that God had still provided. Yet Moses' actions conveyed a troubling message of mistrust. The consequence was swift and severe. Despite leading the Israelites out of Egypt, parting the Red Sea, and receiving the 10 Commandments, Moses was barred from entering the Promised Land. This poignant episode underscores a profound lesson. Leadership and faithfulness are paramount, and even great leaders are accountable to divine authority. Moses' story, rich with dedication and human frailty, serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of obedience and trust in the journey of faith. From Mount Nebo, Moses gazed upon the promised land, a sight both triumphant and bittersweet. It was here, atop this serene peak, that his arduous journey reached its poignant conclusion. For 40 years, Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness, a testament to his unwavering faith and resilience. At the age of 120, with his strength and vision remarkably undiminished, Moses experienced the culmination of his mission. Imagine standing there, feeling the weight of a lifetime of leadership and seeing the verdant valleys and rolling hills of Canaan stretch out before you, knowing it was the land promised to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses' final moments were steeped in divine fulfillment and personal sorrow. Despite his vital spirit and clear sight, he was destined to view but never enter this sacred terrain. The Torah poignantly notes that his eye was not dimmed, nor his natural force abated, a remarkable testament to his enduring vigor. Yet it was here, on this holy mountain, that he surrendered to the divine will, his life's work complete. His death on Mount Nebo remains a profound symbol of faith, leadership, and the enigmatic nature of divine promise, echoing through the annals of history. The mystery of Moses' body remains one of the Bible's most captivating enigmas. Deuteronomy 34:5-6 narrates that Moses, the great prophet who led the Israelites out of Egypt, died in the land of Moab, and it was God himself who buried him in an undisclosed location. This divine intervention ensured that Moses' grave would remain forever hidden, shrouded in mystery. But why would God take such a unique and personal role in Moses' burial? One prevailing theory is that it was to prevent the Israelites from turning Moses' final resting place into a site of worship or idolatry. Moses was a revered figure, and his grave could have easily become a shrine, detracting from the worship of God alone. By keeping the location a secret, God preserved Moses' legacy as a faithful servant without allowing his burial site to become a focal point of religious veneration. This mysterious burial has intrigued scholars and believers for centuries, adding an extra layer of divine intrigue to the story of Moses. It reflects the profound respect and special relationship Moses had with God, making his final resting place an eternal secret known only to the divine. Moses, one of the most pivotal figures in biblical history, is renowned for leading the Israelites out of Egypt and receiving the 10 Commandments. Yet one of the most intriguing aspects of his story is the mystery surrounding his final resting place. According to the Bible, specifically in Deuteronomy 34:5-6, Moses died in the land of Moab, but no one knows his burial place to this day. This enigmatic detail adds a layer of mystique to Moses' legacy. The absence of Moses' burial site fuels both historical curiosity and spiritual reverence. Some scholars suggest that this intentional obscurity signifies the profound nature of Moses' role, emphasizing that his true significance lies not in his physical resting place, but in his spiritual impact. His leadership, faith, and miracles like parting the Red Sea have left an indelible mark on religious traditions and collective memory. This enduring mystery invites us to ponder the divine and transcendent aspects of Moses' life. It reinforces the notion that his legacy is not confined to a geographical location, but continues to inspire awe and devotion across generations, urging us to seek the profound and the divine in our own journeys. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Moses. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more biblical stories and mysteries. Until next time, may you find inspiration in the divine stories that shape our faith and history.